And so this is my regulars, like some of my regulars, who I would want to do a psychological analysis on the most. Striker.
Here's my problem.
Shadow, I feel like I don't have enough of a grasp on. Normal Shadow is pretty sassy. Striker seems normal for the most part, to be honest. Although I would be interested in psychoanalyzing Striker because this guy does everything and it's kind of scary. Like he's up at like fucking 4 a.m. He's got like a 9-to-5 job, but somehow goes on a morning hike and does a cold plunge, and in between there has time to go to the bar and have a couple brewskis with the bros, and in that meantime he's making 2 new friends with a bartender, and so he gets some beers for free that night, and then he goes up to fucking Algonquin or whatever and back, all in the span of like 10 hours. And so that kind of interests me, and I think I would want to pick his brain just because I think understanding him might give me benefits for myself. So purely out of a selfish reason, I'm gonna eliminate Normal Shadow and keep Striker. Now, number 2, we have CG versus Franco. Franco, I think, is relatively, this is hard to say because Franco
Isn't normal.
I think has a brain that's kind of like mine, which makes me think I want to psychoanalyze him, because if I psychoanalyze him and he seems to understand himself more than I understand myself, and if we have almost like the same sort of like brain style, then understanding him, I could understand myself more. CG on the other hand, for sure has a shit ton of problems. I really hope he's lurking right now. This guy had a hair follicle for every time he was called normal. He'd have none, which is why he's bald. That was a good roast, was it not? That was a good roast, I think. Again, for selfish reasons, I'm actually going to choose Franco. Striker will help me, I think, gain stuff for myself, and Franco would help me understand myself more. Okay, number 3, Benny versus Dark Shadow. Now, Benny, I think he's had a lot that's happened in his life, like sad things, and I think I would want to give a psychological analysis on him, literally purely just to help him. And you know, not saying he doesn't have peace in his life and whatever, but he's been through a lot. He really has been, and I feel bad about that. And if I could sit down with him in real life and actually like go through all of his issues, get him to vent it all out to me and give him like an actual like psychological analysis to help him, then I would want to do that. Dark Shadow is his opponent here. And Dark Shadow, if you guys don't know him, he's been real quiet ever since I did this, since I've been talking about this. This guy is an enigma to me. He started coming in here balls deep in Nutella, peanut butter swirl, cheesecake, that deep, okay? Bullying me for shits and gigs. And I told him, I said, you're not allowed doing that till we have an established bullying friendship here. However, he then simmered down a bit and he started to show his nice side a little bit. And now we're at the point where he's a little mixture of both. He sometimes does actually give me like decent advice, and sometimes he actually like today will compliment me and like, you know, kind of be like, oh yeah, keep going type of person, but also have the little shits and gigs and fun bullying me while I bully him back type of thing. And his mind confuses me. You know, there must be something deeply wrong with you to be able to hold all these different types of personalities in you. And so I think it would be really interesting to, so I don't know. Because okay, right now I have Striker, that's one to benefit me possibly just for extra things. Franco to help me understand myself right now. And then I can either help Benny and be a kind person and help Benny to become, you know, help him be better. Or I can just go into the dark side of things. No pun intended, Dark Shadow. Given what I've said about Benny and Dark Shadow, who would you choose to give a psychological evaluation? I'd help Benny. Benny. At least pick one for selfless reasons. Have him be your Adam in this bracket. Yeah, I already knew I was gonna choose Benny because just out of the kindness of my heart, I feel like, and yeah, Funk is right. I have 2 kind of selfish ones, and Dark Shadow would be another selfish one. So I think I'm gonna go with Benny and be selfless. You know what? Big round of applause to me for choosing that. But true. Funk is interesting because I am just really curious on what his fetishes are. He's made it very mysterious, and I am still wondering what these things could be, because he's made it this whole big thing, and I'm still curious if it's not pegging, you know? Yeah, Funk is an enigma, and so are his fetishes, and I'm still curious on what they are. And if I did a psychological evaluation on him, I would get the satisfaction of knowing, because I could definitely pick at his brain and eventually figure it out, or just torture him enough psychologically that he just says it. If it's not pegging, it's true though. So purely I would want to figure out Funk for that reason, and that would actually give me satisfaction as well. Now Rob though, this is sort of, I think, a Dark Shadow and Benny situation, because but obviously I'm not going to say too much because I don't know how much Rob would want me to say, but I know Rob has been through some stuff psychologically, right? Not the same stuff as Benny, from what I understand, but Rob is, again, I can't say, I've known Rob for a really long time, and I know personally that I think Rob would really, really benefit from a psychologist or a therapist. I think it would help him get clarity on a lot of things, and I think it would help him understand himself more, to be honest. Do I help Rob because I know it'll be for the better good, because I know it would help him and it would help him figure himself out more? Or do I satisfy my curiosity? This whole time, he's the guy, he's my arm hair guy. If you guys know, if you know, you know. There was an arm hair fetish guy in here years ago. It's a whole thing. He's the arm hair fetish guy this whole entire time. He's just waiting and plotting for the moment to get me to put mascara on my arms. I think Rob, because the way Funk's brain is now leads to moments like this, so don't risk changing it. True. I think I'll choose Rob for this. I think doing 2 selfish ones and 2 selfless ones is best, and I think I'll feel good about myself. I'll feel good about myself no matter what. I'm gaining something from Stryker and Franco, and I'm able to give something to Benny and Rob. I think that's W.
What the hell?
Stryker versus Franco. Fuck. See, this is gonna be hard because it's gonna be 2 selfish ones versus 2 selfless. Okay. So, but the end will be good. It'll be selfish versus selfless. So Stryker versus Franco. Essentially, what am I wanting to pick more, guys? Stryker is, his day-to-day life is so interesting, and I want to know how his brain works so that he's able to function and do 15,000 things in one day and still be able to be a normal human being. Or do I choose Franco, where he essentially has the same brain as me, and if I choose him and understand his brain, it'll help me understand my brain more? I might have to choose Franco, because I think in order to get to a Stryker level, I need to understand myself first. You will reach your potential and then you can switch to Stryker. Exactly. But I need to know the methods to use for the Stryker method. Anyways, though, so yeah, I choose Franco. I think that's the best bet. Now, next, we have Benny versus Rob. Now, I don't know who you guys would choose. This is kind of hard for me because Benny has been through a lot in life, like losses and stuff like that. And Benny would benefit, I think, from my psychological help because, you know, for him to like vent and rant and me to help him with, not saying he can't cope, but obviously this is an extreme situation, but like giving him like coping mechanisms and things to, you know, help get him through life and stuff. So like helping him through things he's been through. Or Rob, where Benny's stuff is very like things have happened outwardly, I guess, to him. But Rob is very much like stuff that's in his head. But both of them I think could benefit from my help. It's like, which one do I choose? Okay, let me choose based off of who would be easier to help, I think. I was gonna say maybe Benny. Because Benny, you know what the situation is already, therefore I would have the tools to help him. Rob, I would have to figure it out first, then get the tools to help him. So I'll choose Benny, because Benny would be easier. Franco versus Benny. At the end of the day, do I be selfish or do I be selfless? I'm not gonna base it on that because I think that's going to be hard to do. I gotta base it on something else. Okay, which one intrigues me more? Like which one, if someone had a gun to my head and they're like 5 seconds, which one would you choose? Okay, that'll be my reason for this final round. Funk has a gun to my head. He's also dressed up as a girl, aka Juliet, cross-dressing. He's got his hand right here to my head. If you know, you know. He goes, Haley, go with your gut. Who are you choosing? Franco or Benny? I'm choosing Franco. I'm not gonna lie. Call me a piece of shit human being. I don't care. Franco's the winner. Congratulations, Franco. You get a free psychological, imaginary evaluation from me.